truly bright you are. You don't.
Priorities have been elsewhere, so it's been a step-by-step process. But
is it something like an average homeowner could do?
it is something an average homeowner could do, especially in California. And California's really stepped up their game and offered to give you a huge rebate, like to do it, to take your home to solar sufficiency, and then send us your invoice, send us your bill, and we will do our best to give you a huge tax cut on it. So they do make it affordable. It's still going to cost money, it's still an investment, but in the long term, and then also for the value of your home, it's incredible. Not to mention, for the state of California and for, wherever we're drawing our power. I believe we get ours from San Onofre, we get ours from the Hoover Dam. It comes from all the way out there. We get power, I believe, from, and then we get water from Palm Springs. Isn't that interesting?
It's really interesting.
Yeah, very cool. So I encourage all homeowners to look into it, and it's popping up more and more, and the technology is making it easier and easier and smaller. And I learned that I didn't have to go up on my roof and rebuild my roof and create all these other situations and dig trenches. I actually could just put a few panels out there beside my pre-existing power box, and the storage tank goes right beside the power box. So rather than dig trenches and do this whole elaborate process, which would have cost even more money, it's just a matter of setting up the arrays, and then you get San Diego Gas and Electric to give you permission to operate it. They just have to inspect it to see that it's a fully functional system. It rocks, it totally rocks. Gives you a sense of freedom, and not to mention your utility bill for energy goes to zero. It's incredible.
So 15 years ago you were in Virginia.
Yeah.
And then was it like, hey, let's go driving to the West Coast, or was it more, let's go to San Diego?
No, it was let's see the West Coast. I was getting ready to start college for a second time, and I felt I was really dedicated to college this time. I was going to go for it all 4 years, no holds barred, and I was stoked that I got admitted. I got my own loans taken care of. My parents were like, woohoo, our son's really taking action. And I said, as a gift to myself, I'm going to go see the West Coast and then come back and start school. And I drove out with a friend. We crossed the country in a dash on New Year's Eve. So we were kind of crossing time zones and racing with New Year's Eve as it was occurring again and again and again. It was wicked. And I just blew my mind. I'd never seen any other world but my own. I'd lived in Virginia and New York, but I'd never seen places where forests spill into the ocean, and I've never seen a place, with such gorgeous rolling hills, with so many different types of vegetation growing on it, and no humidity, and there were no insects invading my space, and I felt like I was walking through a Dr. Seuss illustration in some places, And it just lit me up, and I went back to school, and I got there the first day, and as in any typical freshman dorm, it was just cement walls, cinder block looking walls, my little bed and desk, and I was just like, I felt like I had just been put in prison. And there was that heart, as I was saying earlier, saying, you want to be a poet. You want to live this adventurous, crazy life like Kerouac and Hunter S. Thompson and Bob Dylan, and you want to be out there. And 3 months later, I packed up all my belongings and cashed in my student loan and drove back. And I knew my one friend in San Francisco and started there.
So what made you eventually choose San Diego? What makes you so
Very quickly I met a great network of people in San Francisco. We did a little weekend trip in Vegas, and then in Vegas I met more people who were from San Diego. And they said, hey, you should really check out San Diego. If you're looking to play music, there's a really cool acoustic music scene You know, there's coffee houses that people go to play music and hear music. I was like, wow. Because I was a solo acoustic guy with not much experience, I certainly couldn't play in any clubs or theaters. You know, I didn't have any audience. So this cool. It sounded kind of old school, you know.
Greenwich Village or something.
Yeah, and that's really what it was. You know, 10 years ago here in San Diego, it was thriving. You know, you walk into a number of coffee shops and people were playing and audiences were listening. And so I was immediately able to like start working and start interacting and learning. And that was it. I made friends fast, crashed with as many people as I could until I was eventually, you know, supporting myself through shows. And been doing it ever since. So I didn't expect to live here. I just came to check it out, and it's been 10 years.
Did you have a few songs by then?
I had a handful of songs. I had enough songs, you know, probably 10 songs that I loved to play, and I was still writing every day, and probably by about a year into being here, I had a good number of songs, and I had joined another group that had Toca Rivera and Carlos Almeida, brothers, and I joined them as a third person doing harmonies, and I would sing their songs, and then occasionally we would sing one of my songs with them harmonizing, and we became a little trio for a while, and that was like really got me involved in the community. And then eventually Carlos took off to do some more solo work, and I was kind of standing around there with Toca, like, hey, you want to keep singing? I've got a few more songs we can try, and kind of the Jason and Toca show started to evolve out of that, you know, because I never wanted to take a break. I said I really couldn't afford to take a break. I just kept hustling at the coffee shop and saying I want to do this, and we spent every Thursday night for nearly 2 years, maybe a little more, just rocking this one shop every Thursday, and then eventually we had a shop in LA where we were doing every Tuesday night in LA, and started to grow, and then on weekends we'd find ourselves going to Sacramento or San Francisco, and just the word kept getting out, and then as soon as I had a website, I started to connect with even more people across the US and just let it build organically through community.
How are your, you know, the process and the result, how is that different in terms of, you know, songwriting 10 years ago and now?
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, the process is still very, I don't know what's going to happen. I can have an intention and I can have notes, I can have an outline, I can even have a task, like this is what I want to write about today, but the process for me really is about connecting with something that I will never be able to describe. You know, it's like trying to say where dreams come from. You know, when you wake up, oh, how did I dream that? It's crazy. I didn't think of that. And that's where I feel songs come from. It's like, I never would have thought of that. Like, yet I allow things to just come out of my mouth as I'm maybe dancing with music. You know, I use sounds in my mouth to dance along in melody, and I allow words to form. Sometimes I don't always know what I'm saying, and sometimes it makes absolutely no sense, and it isn't until I edit and fine-tune it a little bit that it starts to. But other times, it makes perfect and profound sense that it startles me. So my process is still that. I don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of times it's garbage. A lot of times it's me connecting with something that isn't as high level, and I'm singing about something maybe that my ego is driving. Who knows, you know? So, and the results are the same as they were then and they are now. I'm still surprised, and I still have to work really hard at it.
La 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 la, life is wonderful. La 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 la, life goes full circle.